It's Two on the Aisle with me, Charles Gross, and Leslie Hoban Blake. Tonight, reviews of Annie, Grace, and the Heiress. Ladies and gentlemen, it's time for Two on the Aisle.
Good evening. I'm Leslie Hoban Blake.
And I'm Charles Gross. Welcome to Two on the Aisle.
So now we come to the last of our...
Yes.
It's the Heiress.
The Heiress.
Down
yes.
in there.
Now this.
There
now
she is.
here is what was going through my mind. You know, there was a really incredible production of The Heiress with Cherry Jones a few years ago. And so, unfortunately, the first thing that they have to do when this play starts is talk about a cherry red dress. As if they don't have enough to compete against on this. This is the Heiress. This is Jessica Chastain, is the daughter of a very successful, very wealthy, very stern doctor, and her mother, who he loved so much, died in childbirth, and he had always hoped she'd turn out like her mother, and he's been pressuring this poor girl.
Hectoring, beyond pressuring. I mean, just
really, and that you can see when her father is not around that there is a talented and intelligent young woman. Well,
I don't know about talented. I think intelligent for sure, but
young woman
she's
there. But
so insecure when he's around.
Yes.
She cannot. He just overwhelms her, and she's
right.
And this is, you know, this is psychological browbeating. I mean, this is the father is a real bully. Again,
this takes place about 100 years ago, by the way.
Yeah, and it's what's called Washington Square, and it takes place on Washington Square.
Right.
The Henry James novel was adapted by the Getzes to make this.
Right. And then all of a sudden, Dan Stevens walks in as a potential suitor.
Well, he comes with her cousin to visit.
Right.
And
the cousin's husband.
Right, and he says, "Oh, I hope you don't mind," and then supposedly they instantly fall in love, which is a big suppose, because it's very hard for someone as beautiful as Jessica Chastain, by the way, to make herself look unattractive.
She succeeds brilliantly.
Oh, you thought so?
Oh, I did.
Oh,
I did. And the interesting thing is, I don't think this character necessarily has to be unattractive. Cherry Jones, I think, was fairly attractive in the role. I mean, she's not as I remember.
No, but Cherry. Here's the difference, and this is what Cherry Jones left such an impression in the role because Cherry Jones had a persona, a gravitas in this role that Jessica Chastain, and I've seen her in so many movies, and she's so good in those movies that she doesn't have on stage.
No, or at least not here.
Not yet, maybe.
And she felt very hesitant. You had mentioned maybe there is something wrong with her. And that's the impression that you get, that maybe this girl, that this version is not well.
And by the time also the way it was so strange. At the end of the show, they turned the staircase around to a different angle than the one they had. Traditionally, when I've seen The Heiress, and I've seen it several times as well as the movie, the staircase is sideways.
Yes.
So you can get to see the figure who's walking.
Right.
This one had the backs to the
right.
audience.
Right.
So, and she, in the beginning, she just bounded up and down those stairs.
Right.
And then at the end, she walked up slowly.
Cherry Jones was gliding.
Yes. And you saw her throw her shoulders back. You saw her face her future. I mean, I swear, that's what I was.
And what we've left out is that at the end, the man deserts her initially, and then because her father has said, "I will disinherit you," and then the father, David Strathairn, who it's interesting. He's subtle in the role. You know, he comes off as a small man. So at first, and he has a very soft touch, but then you see him, and you can see that in his own way, he is as cool and dominating as anyone who's played the role.
I saw him quite cruel and dominating right from the beginning.
No, but to an extent, yes. But you're not. It kind of comes out of left field, at least for him, even if you're familiar with it, because he comes in his first lines, and again, he's not a large man per se. And his voice is soft. He
chose to use a soft voice. I'm not quite sure why. I've seen him in many things, and that's not his normal voice range. But yes, he did put on a certain voice.
It is a great wonder to me that Morris should come into my life. I never thought I would meet a man who would understand me as he has.
You underestimate your many qualities, my dear. I have always hoped that one day you would meet a fine young man who would match your goodness with his own.
And here I have found the goodness, and with it everything else. Oh, Father, don't you think he is the most beautiful man you have ever seen?
He is very good looking, my dear. Of course, you wouldn't let that sway you unduly.
Oh, no, no. But that is what is so wonderful to me, that he should have everything, everything that a woman could want. And he wants me. What has he done, Father? What did Mrs. Montgomery tell you?
Nothing I did not know before.
Mrs. Montgomery, my sister?
Yes.
What did she say? Have you spoken with her?
She paid me a visit this morning on my invitation.
You see how painful this is for me, Father. Surely you will want me to know your reasons.
He is a selfish idler.
My sister never told you that.
No, I say it.
But, Father, I know he loves me.
I know that he doesn't.
In God's name, Father, tell me what makes you so sure.
My poor child, I cannot tell you that. You must simply take my word for it.
Father, I can't. I can't. I love him. I have promised to marry him, to stay by him no matter what comes.
So he forearmed himself by getting a promise like that, did he? You are beneath contempt.
Do not abuse him, Father. I think we shall marry quite soon.
And it is no further concern of mine.
The one person we haven't talked about is the scene stealing. Wow, that's how you say it.
Judith Ivey, yes,
in the role
as
of the maiden aunt. Yes, she's not maiden aunt; she's the widowed aunt.
Widowed
right.
aunt. Everything this woman does, every line, every gesture is incredible.
Yeah.
And the fact is, no one can hold a candle to her. So it's like, can you imagine how wonderful she would have been in the Cherry Jones version?
Well, actually, the person who was in it, I'm trying to remember now who it was, possibly Frances Sternhagen, also stole that. Didn't steal it, but
no one stole that. No one stole that show.
But in that role was exceptional, and I think won a Tony nomination.
But Judith Ivey, I hope she gets a Tony nomination
definitely.
for it.
She's got to.
But you had mentioned this when we did Cyrano last time. Why bring it back? What are they adding to it? And here, this production really, except for the staircase, doesn't give us a new angle, and really doesn't live up to the recent. It's not horrible, but you know it can be better.
Well, I give great credit to Jessica Chastain for trying to do this. And when I first saw that, I thought, oh, that's really going to be, and I thought she could pull it off. And she's just for me, it's the actress playing too small.
Yes.
Even if you don't have to be loud to be.
And even a little wooden at times, I think.
Yeah, and very one key. Very one key. No color, whether she's with her father or without her father. And maybe that was the directorial thing too. Maybe he said, well, you're supposed to be plain, you're supposed to be this. But there's no, even when she's with the man, she was the same. When she's with the father, she was the same. And I remember Olivia de Havilland in the movie, and
Right. And this is Ruth and Augustus Getz who wrote it, and Moises Kaufman directed.
So another not.
Yeah. And I'll give it 2.75 to 3. I think.
I would go
2.75.
I don't mind doing that. Yeah.
Okay. When you go to the theater, look for Leslie and me, us too.
On the aisle.
On the aisle.